Today we have witnessed the power of collaboration and the promise of a self-reliant India. And now to shed light on how we can truly advance science, technology and innovation for global good, we have a speaker who is a living embodiment of this vision. He is not just a leader, he is a trailblazer who believes that innovation anywhere can create opportunities everywhere for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, for CSIR Foundation Day Address and the 20th CSIR AMRIT Lecture, we have Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan, former Director, US National Science Foundation, distinguished computer scientist and engineer. During his tenure as the 15th Director of the US National Science Foundation, he transformed the landscape of research and innovation. He founded the first new directorate at NSF in over 3 decades, the Directorate for Technology, Innovation and Partnerships. He also pioneered landmark programs like the Regional Innovation Engines. His impact goes beyond numbers. From launching numerous artificial intelligence institutes to mentoring over 150 graduates and researchers, his career has been a testament to his commitment to nurturing the next generation of scientific talent. His contributions have been recognized with some of the highest honors, including the prestigious Padam Shri from the Government of India in 2025, in recognition of his distinguished contributions to science and technology. It is our profound honor and privilege to welcome a visionary who bridges the worlds of academia, government, and industry with a single focus on human progress. Please join me in giving a standing ovation to a global icon of science, Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan.
Thank you very much. Don't stand too long. You never know how it is going to be. Sometimes, it's better to get the standing ovation up front. You never know what happens at the end. Good morning to all of you. And if you're finding it loud, that's typically how I speak. But I also want to address the 37 national labs who are not here and hoping that they will hear me from here by not having to even have a connection. So the loud voice hopefully projects to all the 37 national labs. It's truly an honor. And I will tell you why. And before I get to that, I want to say that having the Honorable S&T Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh here, narrate the story, the history, I learned a lot from the entire narration in terms of what CSIR stands for, what CSIR has done, and the people that have been responsible for that. It's truly amazing to watch this. Professor Ajay Sood, a dear friend, colleague, and most importantly, a fellow IISc alumni, for which I have a special bond, and so he's a phenomenal leader. And the minister and Professor Ajay Sood leading the helm and being at the helm of this science and technology enterprise in India, this moment is very special. And there is no question, not only CSIR and the great work that it will do, and it has done, will scale, will speed up, will strengthen, and will deliver unbelievable outcomes, that the Prime Minister's vision will be realized. So what I wanted to do today, and in all of these things, you always say that at the end of the day, it all starts with leaders in the top. And there is no better super leader, the uber leader of the CSIR labs than Dr. Kalai Chelvi. People tell me that, where do you get the energy from? And I should probably point them to say, you ain't seen energy at all until you listen to Dr. Kalai Chelvi. She is a woman of high intellect, passion, energy, vision, and execution all in one. And you're very fortunate to have such an amazing leader. What amazing leaders do, like Professor Sood, Dr. Kalai Chelvi, the Honorable Minister, and most importantly the Prime Minister, is you assemble this amazing leadership and the amazing talent, the 7,000 of you in the CSIR labs spread all over the nation. That's what happens, and that's how it happens. So what I'm going to do is to talk a little bit about the future, a little bit about linking to the NSF journey, and encapsulate it in a form that I always do in my talks. Because when I go to talks, I say, it was a great talk, but I don't remember what the person said at the end. And so here is what I want to do. I want to keep it tight. Tight as an acronym so that you will not forget this, hopefully. Let's start with the T, talent. It all begins with talent. The talent that is here, the talent that is across the great nation of India through the CSIR labs, the talent that is outside of the labs in the various academic institutions and beyond. Any future to be nurtured can only be nurtured if talent is democratized and is in every part, every pocket of any nation. Democratization of ideas and talent is the only way nations can make progress. You can't leave any ounce of talent behind. This is a sort of a sacred oath that you have to take. I give a lot of commencement addresses. I tell people that every one of us owes the responsibility for unleashing talent at speed and scale. Let me tell you, as a former alumni of a CSIR lab myself, that people do not know, I did my 2 undergraduate degree projects when I was at the Indian Institute of Science at CSIR in Chennai as my laboratory where my ideas started to frame, mold, and get unleashed. I can attribute the sparks of that talent that they try to ignite in me. So when we talk about the 7,000 employees of the CSIR, let's not forget there are 70,000 or 700,000 students and other researchers that need to be touched, or 7 million, or 70 million, or 700 million, whatever that number might be. If we don't endeavor to touch those talents, inspire them, motivate them, nurture them, and deliver them, we cannot make progress and therefore achieve prosperity. So therefore, take it as a challenge today that I am not just only going to reside in terms of doing the great work that CSIR does in terms of science, in terms of discovery, in terms of translation, in terms of industry partnerships, as well as in terms of technology transfer, but make it a point that talent is touched and scaled because of your work. And this has got to be done intentionally and with intensity. Intentionality and intensity are exceedingly important if you really want to deliver on any outcome. At NSF, when I came, one of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure that talent and ideas are democratized, and therefore the investments of NSF has to touch every part of the country, rural, urban, across the broad socio-economic demographic, and across the rich diversity of the landscape of the United States. Yes, NSF's investments will touch the institutions like Stanford and Harvard, of course, because great talent and great ideas emanate from those great institutions. But talent and ideas are not limited only to those institutions. They are everywhere to be found. They are found in community colleges, technical institutes, in universities of different types. Yes, IITs and the Indian Institute of Science. Talent is everywhere in abundance. And therefore at NSF, when I came and I wanted to make sure that all institutions can be successful in securing the investments of NSF, because those ideas that are present everywhere are lifted up, not the standards being brought down, which is what people would think that you do. Not at all. It's quite the opposite. It's almost insulting when you suggest that even. How do you lift the ideas that are in every part of the country, in every institution, and make sure it transcends the gold standard merit review of NSF? For those of you who know NSF, Just a few data points. I like doing this as a computer scientist. So far, NSF has unleashed 268 Nobel laureates. 268 Nobel laureates. In physics, in chemistry, in biology, and yes, economics. And yes, economics. In fact, there has not been one economics laureate that has not been invested in by NSF since 1997. Pause and think about that for a moment. Physics laureates, chemistry laureates, biology, medicine laureates, as well as economics laureates. Just to give you one context of what talent and ideas that can be inspired. Let's talk about another dimension of talent and ideas. Google. The two founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, in 1994, wrote a proposal to NSF saying that we want to get investment for a digital libraries project. NSF invested in that entity. 5 years later, in 1999, when they submitted the final report for the project, they said, we founded a company called Google a year earlier in 1998, and rest of it is $1 trillion history. So is the story of Qualcomm. Through the Small Business Innovation Research, now several $100 billion of company. Thousands and thousands and thousands of companies invested in by NSF, either directly or indirectly, have resulted in this phenomenal explosion of economic opportunity and prosperity. That's what happens when you invest with intentionality and intensity. Millions and millions of science and technology engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, industry practitioners, academic leaders, they were all funded by NSF sometime in their careers. They carry the NSF DNA. So when I talk about talent, therefore, I'm talking about it from that perspective. And the fact that you now have to go and expand, speed up, and scale that by having focused programs. In this case, I said I want a program called Granted, Growing Research Access Through Nationally Transformative Equity and Diversity. Granted, that will grant for education and talent building all of those great minds that needs to be unleashed all across the nation. And I'm proud of the early successes already. I have no doubt that we will prevail. So I just only finished, if you're keeping track, T of tight. You're prepared for a long lecture, I hope. Like Professor Sood, I'm a professor. I'm used to 1.5 hour class sizes in duration. So you better strap your belts on. The next one is I. I is about ideas, I said, but I is about innovation. I is about innovation. When talent is inspired so that you might be able to unleash innovation at speed and scale, then you guarantee prosperity, progress all across the nation. When the introduction was made, when I came to NSF, having seen the possibilities in a state like Arizona, where you can bring the cities and the state and the region and the rural-urban divide, all of that, and focus on what is important for that state, what is unique about that state, what is unique about that region, and build innovation exemplars in every part of the country. So when I came to NSF, one of the first things I wanted done was to build a new directorate of technology, innovation, and partnerships called the TIP Directorate, so that we might tip the balance for the future in favor of economic prosperity, national security, and societal advancement. This TIP Directorate, within a year, launched several programs. The exemplar program that I talked about is called the Regional Innovation Engine Program. And let me talk about that a little bit. The reason is, it's not that we did it. I'm not here to tout what we did, but I'm trying to make the connection. I want you to be very clear. I want to make the connection. The Regional Innovation Engine Program was launched because I firmly believe, like talent and ideas are democratized, innovation too is democratized. Innovation in place, innovation in context is democratized. Every region of the country, every place has got a place for innovation. It is what is that innovation that makes that place unique. And when we launched this program, I said it's got to be at speed. Anything that we do will be at speed and at scale. And we said, for this program, when we launched the call for proposals, I said, I don't want 25-page proposals. I want half a page concept papers so that we can process them fast. Within 6 weeks, we've received 670 concept papers. Every state of the nation, every region of the nation was represented. We processed it. We downscaled it. And one thing that we did that was unique, which we typically don't do when we get proposals, is we made all of them public domain. We published it on a website so that everybody can see what the others have proposed, so that it is not a competition, but a cooperation with competition. So that they may combine the ideas. And we funded the first cohort of 45 innovation centers, incubation centers, all across the country. Let me give you an example on that front. In Reno, Nevada, I did not know this, that the only lithium mine resides in Reno, Nevada. I didn't know this. That region came together with a concept of bringing together that mine with the University of Nevada, Reno, with a center to do green mining, extraction, processing of that lithium, working with the community colleges to develop programs to train the skilled technical workforce, working with the gigabit factory, gigascale factory of Tesla, which required those batteries, and other entrepreneurs coming together, the state of Nevada coming together, everybody joining hands, and NSF incubating this activity. Like that, 45 different activities were incubated in the first round. Now it's about 68 of them across the country. And then we said, that is just the beginning. We are going to do the next scale, which is a large scale. And large scale meant that our investments were going to be the tune of $15 million per activity for 2 years, the first 2 years. And we launched 10 large-scale centers. And for example, in North Carolina, it was around textiles. It was around regenerative medicine. It was around advanced battery technology. These were naturally incubating centers of excellence. But the most important thing is that $15 million for 10 centers, $150 million, was just the tip of the iceberg. These centers have so far secured $1.2 billion in funding by bringing the community together to co-invest in this so that they might unleash the innovation at speed and scale. That is the point. Ideas, good ideas, beget as much investments as you think you would need. Because oftentimes people will come and tell me, oh, but we don't have the money. I said, where is the idea? What is the idea? So, innovation democratized. I challenge that with the 37 national labs and the many, many institutions already in the country, I can tell you, there is room for innovation centers around thematic topics. Innovation does not have to only be in Silicon Valley, as important as it is, or Boston. Likewise, it doesn't have to be only in Bengaluru or Noida or Pune or Chennai or Hyderabad. It can be in any part of the country in context. Innovation in place, innovation in context. So CSIR of the future can unleash this innovation in partnership with other entities like universities, like technical institutes, like local economic development ecosystems. It can be done. It doesn't matter what the topical area is. It can be oceanography, for example, that Radha is leading, the center. It can be anything. So find those things that are unique and unleash that innovation at speed and scale. So T and I. The next point I want to make is, these are not as important as they are local or national activities only. These have to elevate themselves to global activities. When I came to NSF, I wanted to make sure that the global footprint of NSF's partnerships, of like-minded partners like India, for example, was again accelerated in a manner that brought in the partnerships, bringing in those things that we can work together. And thanks to the amazing leadership of Professor Sood again, and Dr. Mani from the PSA's office, Secretary Mani, and the DST Secretary, the DBT Secretary, Rajesh Gokhale, METI Secretary Krishnan, DST Secretary, of course, Abhay, the Ministry of Earth Sciences Secretary, who's here, Secretary Ravichandran, Secretary of Mines, Kantarao. Let's join hands to see how we might build this unbelievable partnership. And we launched what is called the global centers. The centers that were not just 10K, 100K, 500K, but tens of millions of dollars. We launched the very first global centers in climate and clean energy within a year after I took office. And we put in $33 million. We got our partners, the AUKUS partners of Canada, Australia, and UK, putting in $45 million to a total of $78 million for 7 centers. All decisions were done in 6 months. Same thing with India. Several million dollars through these partnerships. Second round of global centers. Now, people got excited. Korea, Finland, Japan. They wanted to join the fray. And of course, with UK and Canada and Japan, we built the biomanufacturing focused activity, again at $80 million the very next year. And the third round being technologies for resilience. And then thanks to Professor Ajay Sood, the Quad partners working together, Japan, Australia, India, and the United States, and the great work of Professor Sood bringing in ICAR from India. How about AI for agriculture? Why not take impactful activities? But these require global partnerships. Science is global. The grand challenges of today are global. It requires global teams of experts coming together, sharing ideas, context, innovations, and solving problems at speed, at scale. While the focus is global, the impact is local. And so, the G is global thinking, global mindsets, as you think about the future. I'm going to question. Typically, when I give the lectures, I say, what is T for? Talent. I. You're not going to go out and forget this. I'm telling you. I have a quiz outside. And your pay raises, apparently, Dr. Kalechal will tell me, is dependent on how much you get. Talent. Ideas and innovation. Global mindsets, global partnerships. I'm so pleased that I have these unbelievable exemplars, even sitting here. And now, with Dr. Kalyan Raman taking over the ANRF, the opportunity to do something is mind-boggling. To all the CSIR directors, center directors, I challenge you. I challenge you to think not only in terms of what you can do locally and regionally and nationally, but what can you do in terms of global partnerships so that you might unleash innovation, ideas, and talent at speed and scale. And why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of all of this? Why do we even bother? Why are we doing this? Because we are here on planet Earth to serve humanity. To serve humanity. Whether it is a renewable energy project, whether it is elimination of poverty, whether it is unleashing the next generation of agriculture, whether it is going to space, whether it is going to the oceans, it doesn't matter what it is. It is about uplifting, enriching, and empowering humanity. And that's what the H is all about. So every one of these labs never lose focus. That ultimately all of this is motivated by that desire to want to impact humanity. The minister talks so eloquently about the importance of communication. I cannot agree with him more. He's absolutely right. Living in the ivory towers of universities, elite universities, and labs, that's not sufficient. The purpose that you are there is so that the common man, that agriculturist who was walking by, not only knows and is aware of what is going on, but knows enough that he will be able to interact with you and talk about his problem or her problem so that you might then go and solve that for them. And yes, That solution will bring about unbelievable unleashing of discoveries. Fundamental research problems will be uncovered by focusing on not only building discovery research for discovery research's sake, but discovery research being motivated by solving real-world problems. That is the H of the tight. And the last T, you can call it transformation, but I would call it technology for transformation. Let's go back to technology. So if your technology, therefore, is with the mindset of scaling talent, embedding innovation, thinking globally, and focusing on humanity, such a technology will no doubt be impactful. Clearly, it will unleash prosperity, and clearly it will play a big role in terms of solving problems. And let me give you an example of that too. When I came to NSF, I do not know whether you know, the AI that we celebrate today everywhere is because of sustained investments of NSF for the last 6 to 7 decades. I remind people that. It didn't just pop up. And that AI had its own winters where people said they were skeptical of that. They want to walk away from it. But NSF stayed true, hyper-invested, kept on investing because at the end of the day, that's what it takes to unleash the full scope and potential of technologies like AI. So when I came to NSF, I said we need to launch AI institutes focused in every part of our country. It cannot be limited to a few elite institutions and a few chosen places. It's got to permeate every part of the country. Again, in context, I'm proud to say 27 AI institutes have been launched in the 3 years, each $20 million scale. And I also challenge them to say that the funding will not just come from NSF only. We are going to use this as an opportunity to scale the funding through public-private partnerships. And let me give you the score on that too. We put in $320 million of the $540 million or $500 million that we have invested in these 27 institutes. The other $220 million came from industry, foundations. Simons Foundation invested in 2 of them for astronomy, AI for astronomy, believe it or not. A consortium of industry, Intel, Google, Accenture, and Amazon, putting in the scale of investments for advancing these AI institutes. I asked them to walk over to the other agencies. Of all the agencies that participated, the one with the largest contribution, guess what, was the US Department of Agriculture, USDA. They invested $100 million for 5 centers focused on AI for agriculture, spread across the nation, doing unbelievable work in terms of impacting the future of next generation of agriculture through those AI institutes. Same thing in quantum. Several quantum institutes. So these things don't happen just because you just wished that it will happen. These have to have the intensity and intentionality. And these things don't happen because the federal government will invest all of it. These things happen because you go with your ideas and secure the investments that are necessary to scale and speed up the build-up of these kinds of activities. I can go on and on biotech. I don't have time. On advanced wireless, the consortiums that we built. But the bottom line is that you need to forge ahead with the confidence that good ideas articulated in the appropriate forums with appropriate partners will generate the resources and revenue. I know that is a challenge that I think Kalyan Raman faces in terms of having to multiply your investments several times over to be able to get the full unleashing of possibilities here. Technology. I also remind people that please understand that NSF, which is a $9 billion annual agency, 72,000 crores every year that we are spending in investments. Please understand that it is not about the technology of today, as important as they are, or the technology of tomorrow, as important as they are, quantum, AI, today, tomorrow, and the future. But it is about those that don't even have the labels right now, where the labels for these technologies will only emerge in about 2 or 3 decades. We are investing in those ideas today. You cannot but get so short-term focused and say all my investments has to be to do this only. It's got to be with a mindset of investing in fundamental research, in discovery, in translation, in entrepreneurship, our small business innovation research, and the small technology transfer research programs, small business technology transfer research programs, STTRs, and the iCore program for entrepreneurial training. Whatever that might be, we have to invest in all of the above to make sure that we are not only energizing the technologies in the industries of today and tomorrow and the innovation ecosystems of today and tomorrow, but we are preparing ourselves for the industries of the future. The industries that don't have labels, the industries that have not birthed yet, the technology that have not birthed yet, the signs of which is happening to happen. And the last thing that I told people when I came in, these are all in the last 5 years, in addition to strengthening the NSF and unleashing at scale and speed what NSF has been doing so well, we do all of these things on top of that. Not in lieu, but on top of that. And so I'm very proud to say that this vibrancy, which is existent here, the ideas are here, the talent is here, the frameworks are here, the leadership is here, investment is here. So what are you waiting for? I'm very proud to hear some of the great progress that has been made already and the roadmaps that you have built already for making progress. And I'm confident with the amazing leadership that I refer to that it is almost like things are coming together. And they call it the perfect storm. And so to see how you can generate unbelievable prosperity. So I will leave you with the 5 Ps. I'm a man of acronyms. Somebody told me today that they listened to one of my commencement speeches and they said, I remember your 10 Cs. I had a meeting with Minister Pradhan and his team earlier this morning for breakfast. And he said, oh, I remember I heard your one of the commencement speeches, you talked about 10 Cs. I remember that. I said, yeah, that's what I tell students. So here is what I will tell you. Now I'm going to leave you with 5 Ps at the end. People. It starts with people and ends with people. Projects with partnerships makes possible progress and therefore prosperity. I wish you all the very best. Very happy 84th Foundation Day. And I look forward to what you're all going to do in the decades to come and the immediate years to come. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir, for a truly enlightening and inspiring lecture. Your vision of innovation anywhere, opportunities everywhere, resonates deeply with us all and serves as a powerful call to action. Your insights and experiences have given us much to reflect upon and will undoubtedly guide and motivate the entire CSIR family in our pursuit of scientific excellence and societal impact. And now we have a unique opportunity for our audience to interact directly with our distinguished speaker. So the floor is now open for a round of questions. So you can raise your hands and we will hand over the mics to you to ask questions. So we will, yes, ma'am.
So the communication chief, Geeta, is going to ask the first question.
Yeah, let's try communicating what I have in my mind. No, you made a very pertinent point, and which is always bothering me, is that don't invest of just technology today and tomorrow, those which do not have labels. That's what you said. So how does one go about making that decision? Or like, with your NSF experience, how do you know that this is where these are the ideas which may actually emerge, a decade later or 2 decades later?
Excellent question, Geeta. Let me tell you the following thing. You never have the ego to say, I know where the puck is going to be. No, not at all. That's what scientists do best. This is fully in the realm of scientists. You open calls for scientists to be able to come up with their generic ideas. You then evaluate those ideas by a pool of scientists, and that's why I said the gold standard merit review. Oftentimes when I go on trips around the country, people will say, Director, it's a great honor to meet you. I said, don't bother, because I don't carry a checkbook. Because it doesn't happen that way. I was just kidding with them. The investments happen by a process of gold standard merit review of NSF. This has been so sacred. Your ideas are being evaluated by your fellow scientists who evaluate the merits of your ideas. And then we invest in those ideas that people feel, the community feels, this is worthy of investment. That's the first answer. Second answer, sometimes people will tell me, my crazy idea is so crazy that the current scientific community is so conservative that they are so incremental, they will not invest in transformative ideas. So what we have given at NSF is a license to program officers to not necessarily only have their investments made in gold standard merit review ideas that have transcended that, but take the chance and invest in ideas that they believe is transformational or high risk. I tell them NSF should be the agency of high risk, high reward. You should be welcoming failure as much as you welcome success. This is a culture issue. It's a mindset issue. Professor Sood will agree with you. I'm sure he had his share of things. I had my share of things. I got more proposals rejected by NSF than ever accepted by NSF. And I'm so grateful for the rejections. The rejections made my ego flattened. My rejections made me think about my idea even more deeply. My rejections brought about the fighting spirit in me. My rejections gave me the opportunity to prove people wrong, whatever that is motivation that is, your scientific curiosity and the discovery spirit is so solid that you're willing to go to bat because you know you have a good idea. And that's a very good thing. It's not just you teach that failing is good for entrepreneurs. It's true for scientists too. And so, that's a second form of investment that we do in terms of that, okay, is to take the chance. And that, I have to tell you, this precedes my time. I'm so proud. We are celebrating the 75th anniversary of NSF this year, like you're proudly celebrating the 84th Foundation Day today of the CSIR labs. The 75 years of robust, vibrant investments not by the directors, have nothing to do with it. As long as we do set up the vision, leadership, get more resources, fight for, but the real work is done by the rank and file, program officers, scientists. I honor every person at NSF and every reviewer from the academic community and industry community. That's why NSF is what it is, not because of a director. It's because of the scientists. Never forget that. It is always about the scientists. Good leaders, which you saw in action today with all the leaders that even spoke before me. And when Dr. Kalai Chelvi, I think I lost count how many times she was giving the credit to CSIR. That's what is a hallmark of a good leader. It's because the real work is done by all of you. You are the idea generators. You are the inspirers. You are the doers. And thank you as a fellow scientist for the unbelievable work that you're doing every day. Unbelievable work that you do every day. Unbelievable caliber of science that you're, propagating for the benefit of humanity and the planet. One of the things when I came to NSF is an initiative that I wanted called Resilient Planet. When I talked about planet, I remembered I hadn't mentioned that. So make sure that you never, and this is to the ANRF leader here, don't succumb to just investing in those nice AI and quantum projects. Not that you will, Kalyan Raman, I have confidence. I'm just reminding you, because we can easily fall back into that. And here is a great scientist, par excellence, right? And I say it with, I don't have to please him. They gave me Padma Shri already. But so I'm not saying this because I'm trying to get anything. He's truly a remarkable scientist. And That's the kind of leadership that focuses. Every conversation I have with Professor Sood is always about science and scientists, not about bureaucracy or this or that. So that's what you need. That's what you need. And so you are all the doers. We are grateful to you. I'm sorry I more than answered your question, but I thought I should take the opportunity. Yes, go ahead.
So, Geeta asked, about this, how do you do it there? I'll ask you just a very simple question. India, we've, for years together, we've been used to rote learning, right? Bringing back innovation, especially in the later stages of career, is not an easy thing. So how do you really, encourage people to think innovatively?
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
Thank you.
So, the innovative thinking does not start suddenly like a switch turning on, okay? There is an ecosystem that is required to be built. And this morning when I was talking with the minister and the leaders, it starts, believe it or not, at K levels. Primary school, elementary school, middle school, high school. It has to start there. You have to cultivate. It is not a skill set. Let's be very clear. Innovation is a mindset, not a skill set. The mindsets have to be, for lack of a better word, I know the minister guaranteed that he has a lot of COVID vaccines, but I'm sure that you won't build innovation vaccines. So the innovation should be an infection. It should be an infection that spreads by the culture, by the simple role modeling, by the simple opportunities that are being presented. Yes, it can be done at the university level, and it should be. Yes, it can be done even now at the CSIR lab level, and it should be. But I find that investment in ideas and building the confidence, please try, and if you fail, we will not hold you to harm, is something that you can do so that people can still exercise it. Everybody has it. It's how do you express it. So the culture, the environment that you create, the incentives that you create, and the intention and the intensity and intentionality that I talked about, all of this is important. It's not one thing. And I am just amazed when I see the young students and high school kids. I'm sure Professor Sood will share this, Dr. Mani will share this. When they go around the country, I look at these young children, they are just unbelievable. They've got so much energy and creativity, and hopefully we'll nurture them and not dampen it. I hope that answered partly at least. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Panchanathan, for inspiring all of us. It's a wonderful talk. And thank you to NSF. I've received many grants and have my long share of grants that were turned down. I think it's important for people to accept failure and learn from them. My question, the Honorable Prime Minister has asked us to think beyond publications and patents towards impact. And also has asked us to drive collaboration. So if you could speak a few words on how you think about impact and how you think about collaboration. You talked about the consortia and the means, as a means towards impact.
See, I think impact is such a broad term. We all know that. It can mean different things to different people. But I always look at impact as what of what we have done can be related to something that humanity will benefit from. And that doesn't mean that it has got to be today. It can be a decade from now, 2 decades from now, 10 decades from now. If it's an astronomer peering into the universe and trying to understand the galaxies and the black holes and so on, you may say, how do you have impact? I say, yes, you have impact, because we are understanding the beginnings of humanity. We're understanding the beginnings of our origins of where we came from, who we are, what is our placement in this universe. In this quest for understanding, everything can be tied back to what it does to humanity and human spirit. So to me, impact should be at that scale. Now you can distill it down based on your particular discipline or the kind of work that you do to what that can mean. And it will mean different things for different people. Okay? So it's very hard to have a universal definition of that. Okay, so that's the first point. I hope that I have clarified. At least that's my view. It may not be right, but that's how I think about it. Collaboration. To me, the future is about collaboration. I didn't get a chance to talk about that. The multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, transdisciplinarity is where the fusion of ideas makes unbelievable progress possible. I mean, in the beginning, there was a mention about the meeting with ISRO and CSIR, right? And the kind of work that happens between CSIR that advances ISRO's mission, and the work that ISRO does propelling CSIR's future. This kind of a synergy not only between labs and agencies, one of the things that I emphasized when I came to NSF is NSF shall not work in isolation. It's got to partner with NIH, DARPA, Department of Energy, USDA we talked about, right? DOD, okay? NASA. It's got to work with everybody where we find common interest, where we could advance innovations together, where possible. But at least we'll be synergized in terms of our thinking. So collaboration's there. Then the next set of collaborations is what do you do with industry? How do you work with industry? Okay, developing consortiums, and I can give you many examples at NSF. I won't have time here. When you take the advanced wireless, we had 35 companies in the NextG consortium. The likes of, you name everybody who you'll think about, Nokia, Ericsson, okay, Qualcomm, the who's who, are all part of that. They invested $50 million. We put in $50 million for a $100 million program for next-gen wireless, right? So I say good ideas begets good investments. Next level of collaboration. With regional innovation engines, it's not limited to industry and other agencies. It is also the communities. Every community wants economic vibrancy. How do you build this excellence that garners economic vibrancy, delivers economic vibrancy, and therefore garners co-investment? Foundations. Foundations are looking for impactful investments, and they don't have the same robustness sometimes to choose projects. Therefore, partnering with them. That's what Simon's Foundation does with us, or any foundation for that matter. So we find that partners come to you as you go to them, so that we can synergize and try to sing different hymns from the same songbook, but yet we are all working together with a unified purpose. So consortiums, collaborations happen because the ideas are so compelling. Collaborations happen because the objectives are so compelling. Who would argue that you need good talent? Who would argue, right? So these are kinds of common grounds that you establish to be able to advance the ideas to get the collaborations. I hope I answered your question. Okay.
I love the way you started with talent and went on to speak about going global. How do we convert our brain drain to brain gain? What do you think about migration of talent across countries? Thank you.
I think it all starts with the environment that you create. That curiosity that people have for achieving excellence. Okay? I was telling the minister this morning, infection of excellence. So if you create the right environment for not only achieving their dreams and aspirations of conducting basic research, or building a company, or working for multinationals, or working for Indian conglomerates, and build a successful career here, or a successful purpose here, people will want to stay. Okay? And so it is upon us. I always tell people, remember this, that's another thing, dictum I have. When people point a finger, I tell them there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. Back to Gita. When scientists tell me, why is it that fundamental research investments are being reduced? I tell them, because you are not doing a good job, these 3 fingers, you're not doing a good job of communicating the value of science, the impact of science, the excitement of science. If you did these 3, this will go away. We have this mindset that somebody is going to solve our problem. We have this mindset that the problems are external, the problems are internal. I don't mean country, I mean within us. And so the more we think about how do I address these problems of brain gain versus brain drain. For me, for example, when I went to the United States, in our country, for far too long, we have substituted domestic talent with global talent. I say, time has come to unleash domestic talent at full force and full scale and welcome, assimilate, retain global talent at full force and full scale, because you need both domestic and global talent to be retained, to be inspired, to be motivated, to be nurtured, to be realized, so that we can achieve the ultimate dream of building prosperity, the 5 P's that we talked about. There's a lot that can be done. And I was going to finish my talk with saying, the time is now. That's a slogan I will leave you with. The time is now. It is not 2047. It is not 2032. The time is now. The sense of urgency, the sense of discomfort in not making progress, it should shake you every day when you get up. It should push you. I hope that I answered that question.
There are several foundations and agencies working to enhance the life expectancy. Several of the projects actually do that. But at the same time, there's a fear that are we looking at, while we enhancing the life expectancy, say in the last 50 years it has doubled. To double again, it won't take even 20 or 30 years, it could. But then at the end of the day, the happiness. But is there anybody working towards enhancing the happiness of people? Because ultimately, another 15, 20 years, it's not just the quality of life, the way the facilities are being created, but then how happy are you? And are we working towards that?
An excellent question, because I'll tell you, I can speak for United States. There is a real serious recognition of the importance of arts, humanities, social sciences, and the disciplines that really worry about the human existence, the happiness that you talk about, the contentment, the fulfillment, and a whole lot more, peace. If, when we develop technology, if you are not partnering in the outset, not after the fact, in AI, we have a good example of how things failed when you brought in the partnerships in ethics, in privacy, in bias, much later in the game. But if it was part of the technology evolution, so we have to learn from that experience. Let me give you a concrete example. At Arizona State University, in partnership with the Mayo Clinic, we have developed a center called Medical Humanities. This is about how do we get the patient to focus on the core purpose of living, which is happiness, wellness. So these are things that are conscious efforts that I strongly urge all of you to think about. Time for arts, music, humanities, all of these to be embedded in your thinking about science technology. They are not parallel tracks, they are highly converged tracks. And I'm so proud of NSF on that front. Among the directorates that we have, many of them, 10 of them, one of them is the Social Behavioral Economic Sciences. As I told you, their work has garnered a Nobel laureate every year since 1997. So far, 69 Nobel laureates in economics were funded by NSF. Okay? So that's the point. The point is, how do you bring in multidisciplinary inspirations?
Panch, just a quick
yes.
Thanks and
yes.
quick query also. What do you think about 5P versus 3Ps, which sustainability of saying people, prosperity, and planet? So that planet was missing in your entire series of discussion. That is one. Mm-hmm. Another one, what I, with your experience, would like to learn. It's not only that science we are talking of the sustainability, but the issues of sustainability of science itself is a big question. Mm-hmm. And with the experience of the scientific administration, what do you think particularly in coming years, coming from US, and you know the issues what we are globally rocked on.
So, answer the first part of your question. There is what I call implicit and explicit. The 5 P's were explicit. The P that you referred to, planet, is implicit. There is no 5 P's without the planet. It is implicit. It doesn't have to be stated. The purpose, the other P, is for the planet, which requires these 5 P's. That's the first answer. The second, the answer to your second question is, again I say that science is going through an interesting time right now. Across the globe, it is not unique to United States or any place. It is everywhere. And as I said earlier, if we as scientists do not take responsibility for this moment of question, maybe suspicion, maybe, wonderment, we have to have the ability to engage with the constituencies to demonstrate, not all, but I would say most, to engage, to be able to express the importance of science and importance of what they do. It's almost a duty to science, back to your point. It's a duty to science for us to be able to articulate the value of science, the impact of science, and the excitement of science. Every one of us bears this responsibility. In the United States, I remind people, 80% of the science, technology, engineering practitioners are in industry. We want to involve them. We want to have this entire crew of people inspiring every day, articulating the value, articulating the importance, as I said. This is very, very, very important right now because we will pay the price if, as a scientific community, if we don't take this moment seriously and communicate the importance. Okay? We have to stop looking at our shoes and start looking at people's eyes as scientists.
Thank you, sir. We once again thank you for a truly enlightening and inspiring lecture.
Avni, can I just have 1 minute?
Yes, ma'am, please.
If there are other questions.
So, Dr. Panch, I'm not able to control my temptations to share at least 1 minute of my thought because your talk was outstanding, I need not say, because the first standing ovation was asked by the MC, but the last standing ovation came automatically. So your talk definitely was, it was one more time, it's a testament that you are an impeccable and an inspiring leader. Thank you so very much for having this kind of an investment that you really gave for a CSIR in terms of sharing your ideas, thoughts, listening to our questions. And I have no proper word to say heartfelt thanks to you. And the only word that is known to me next to Vanakkam is only thank you and Nandri. So Nandri to you. And I have only one question for which you need not answer now, but I will just talk to you offline. All the time you were talking about 128 Nobel laureates from your NSF and 69 are from economics.
268.
268,
yeah.
268 and 69 from economics. I'm really not able to control my jealous on you, but I just, if at all, I want to commit at least only two Nobel laureates from CSIR. Before we touch upon this 2047, what and all I should do, I will just get the secret tips from you offline. Number one. And you said time is now is your mantra, but I learned another mantra from you, which is you said innovation is not skill set, it is a mindset. So thank you so very much, Dr. Panch. And I will definitely remember your great words. And I will spend a little more time offline to get many secret tips. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And now to express our deep gratitude and respect, I would like to request Dr. G. Mahesh Sir, Chairperson of the Organizing Committee for CSIR Foundation Day 2025, to kindly present a shawl and a memento to Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan, former Director, NSF. Sir, please. Thank you, sir.